So a few things we're going to talk about today. Hopefully we can get through these things.
Yeah.
So first thing, I want to talk about our extension. We've had
Okay.
our extension out there for a little bit now, and if you look on this is our VS Code extension, by the way. If we search for Bootstrap 5 in extensions, we're actually on the first row now.
Look at that.
Yeah,
8,000 downloads now.
yeah, over 8,000 downloads now. That's pretty good. And then actually, if you just search for Bootstrap too, we're actually on this. I think we're on like the first page somewhere. Here we go, down here. So we're doing pretty
Yeah.
well on this. So yeah, if you haven't used this is our Bootstrap 5 snippet extension for VS Code. It's pretty cool. You can do all kinds of like pre-made things, and if you're in the course, you will have used this already.
Yeah.
So there's lots in there. We're actually updating it. Drew's doing an update today, so he's adding some
Yeah.
other stuff to it. So yeah, it's cool. So I just thought I'd bring that up. We hit over 8,000, so maybe we'll talk about it again when we're over 10.
10,000.
That's
So
yeah,
what
that's the
hits
next goal.
first? Our subscriber count to 100,000 or the 100,000 on the Bootstrap?
Oh,
do
the
you think?
subscriber 100,000 on the Bootstrap. I think we're way off that yet. Yeah, I think we're a little bit off that yet. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, we're going to talk about APIs here in a second, but let's talk about somebody who's in the bootcamp who I saw their portfolio and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Okay.
I want to. I showed you just really, really briefly before we did this, and I think he's here. So
Okay.
this
Cool.
is Yardleyist's portfolio that he's working on. He does have one
Yeah.
thing to fix here. I don't know why this is wrapping weird, but it is. But
Yeah.
he's making this in the bootcamp. It's cool.
Yeah. He's right in the middle of building out some stuff.
Yeah,
It's got to start on a good portfolio there. It looks kind of cool.
definitely. Some of his work down here too, which he's done before. I like this template
Yeah.
too. It's cool. Little blog section, little contact me section. So yeah, I just wanted to give him props. This is cool. I like this. He's doing a good job at this. He's branded himself up too. Look, by the way, he got a custom brand made.
Yeah.
I think is cool. Yeah. So yeah, props, Yardley. Good stuff. I like it.
Using props there, man.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, if you're making stuff, send it to us. We'd like to see it, see what you're making. That's kind of cool. So if
Yeah,
you're in the
definitely.
camp, there's a lot of you in there. So I mean,
There is, and I've seen
we'll
some
try
other
to
stuff in
interact
there
with you on
too.
Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some other stuff in Discord. Yeah, post it in Discord. We have a show off channel. So throw it in the
Yeah.
show off channel. Yeah, we love seeing it. It's great stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw someone build the mortgage calc, which I was impressed with, just because we haven't given the solution for that yet,
Yeah,
and someone's already built it out. So it's kind of cool.
it is. It is. It's
So
great. I think yeah, what you guys are doing is very, very cool. And yes, I will. John, if this light goes off, I will let you know on Discord. I can tell when it dies, so I will post on there. So yeah, it's
yeah,
all good. Hopefully it does.
yeah. Sean's in the course. He's wanting to work on his portfolio now, but he's got work to do. So
Yeah, yes, he does. I saw that. I saw that message earlier. Well, that was pretty funny. Also, one other thing too. I liked this energy when we jumped on here too. Look, Lala
yeah,
says, smash the like button before the thing even get started. So thanks for you that have liked this. If you haven't liked
yeah.
it,
We need
smash
people to smash the like button. That'd be kind of cool if you can smash it.
you can just
Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
you can gently tap it too if you like. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
a little click.
whatever your preference is. Whatever. We're
Yep.
not that picky. So we were thinking about like we're gonna be adding future stuff to the
Yeah,
to the course, and we've talked a lot about this, and we have our roadmap, and we've talked with you guys about this a bunch, and some other stuff that we're gonna add. There's also little things we're gonna add too. We're
yeah.
gonna add some more Bootstrap stuff. We're gonna add a little CSS section, and we'll kind of talk about that. But one thing you thought about was adding an API.
So I'm going to add a project that's solely on API, and so we were researching like what's the API we use. Obviously, Movie Pro has an API built into it, but we want to like even do it before then, maybe with JavaScript only.
Right.
So there's a lot of them out there, like weather. It's kind of been done a lot, like, and so I found this GitHub project that is kind of cool. It
Pretty
shows
cool.
like almost every API on the face of the planet. So public APIs. And so I was looking through here to try to find one that I think I might want to use. So without making a commitment to which one I picked, but I think let's go ahead. We're going to probably build something around books because we have a project there called Notary, and we may revamp Notary and hit it to some books. So,
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think
cool.
that could be kind of cool.
And then I was looking through, and this one stuck out. Look, this British National Bibliography one, which is basically like, so in the US, when you put out a book, it gets put into, what was it called again? In DC, the Library of Congress or whatever, right? You get you get a digital like version of your book gets put in there. I guess this is like the English version of that. I was like, have I put out a book? I was like, I don't know, have I? So I looked it up. I was like, oh look, I have. Look, The Worms That Saved the World.
Yeah, there's your book right there that you wrote.
This is my book, The Worms That Save the World. I was like, okay, wow.
I have to put the affiliate link in the description. So.
I'm gonna go buy it on Amazon now. But I thought that was kind of interesting. But look, you don't have anything.
I know, I didn't.
Hey, at least I'm in there.
Yeah, no, I guess Bobby Davis isn't British, so
it isn't. But if you go for like, it's not because that's your name isn't Robert Davis. But if you went by that, look, you have a book. I found this one. Look, The UFO Phenomenon. So you're like one of these tinfoil hat guys. That's
it, man. I'm all about the it's if it was aliens, and I'm saying it is. So,
You're supposed to say you're not saying that.
Yeah.
You don't want someone knocking on your door.
Right.
But yeah, so we're thinking about doing a project
aliens, but it was aliens. So yeah.
Right. We're thinking about doing something probably maybe with the Google Books one. The Google Books one looks interesting.
Yeah, that looked pretty interesting. I may change it up. I don't want you guys to quote me. There's some other ones in here that I thought was interesting. So I may build something around this book repository, and then search through them like I was doing with Notary. If you looked at the Notary thing on YouTube, which I wrote several years ago, so it's time to update that a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's got some good stuff in there. Definitely, it's definitely a good place to start for another project.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
instructions unclear. Smash button. Screen broken. Sorry, Nicholas. I said you could gently like tap it if you felt like you needed to do that. So
it's our fault.
Here you go. Look, Big Ops has received the golden book, breaking the code, started reading it, and got to say like that. Awesome. Right. So I like it.
Yeah, appreciate it. So
cool.
Like, if you want a copy, I got it right here.
So put it right in front of your face. There you go. I have mine too. Mine is it's always sat on my desk, by the way. I just have it here. I do reference it a lot. It's kind of interesting because there's lots of interesting
there's
things
some
in
good
it.
Stuff. And most people that have read it, I really haven't had a negative review on it, which is kind of amazing in of itself. So I had a team working on it with me. So like, just like the team that helped me put it together is like, they did a good job on it.
Yep.
That's for sure. So, but I just think there's just some really good advice in there, like how to find a job, so I just think that it's just, I don't know why it seemingly is secret knowledge, but like to me, it's very kind of like naturally what you should do. Right. But even today on Twitter, you'll see that the answering code trivia is what everyone wants to do still, like, and I give that advice out. Don't do it like demo. And they're like, no, I'm not going to demo stuff. Like, why would I do that? So,
and it's funny too.
But I was on Twitter this morning and I was watching this. There was a designer on Twitter. I don't know how it got in my feed, but he says, what do I do as a designer if all the things I designed are under NDA and locked behind a firewall and I don't have a portfolio to show? How do I get a job? Funny. And it's just like, you make your own stuff, man. I mean, like it seemed obvious to me.
It's like, the answer to this already.
Yeah, but then there was a lot of people saying, well, what if you don't want to work on the weekend and you don't want to make your own stuff? Like, it seems kind of like, that's like, in other words, like, Well, be your own boss. This isn't the world forcing you to do it. I mean, if
Right.
you're going to be a designer, you have to show something. I mean, like they're never going to hire a designer without a portfolio. And I think increasingly they shouldn't hire coders without one either.
Right.
I think you should have one. You
Yeah,
know,
it's crazy.
if you can't invest in yourself enough to make a website with your stuff on it, I mean,
Right.
so if you already know how to code, it's not going to take you forever to do this kind of stuff, you know. So
It's funny too because
um,
talking about this, there was a comment in Discord. April in Discord just posted this exact thing. So this is somebody who doesn't work with C Sharp, necessarily work with a tech stack that we
right,
use in Python, but use the exact technique you're talking about, demoed a project, got asked no technical questions and got offered the job. I think it was a job or an internship, I forget off the top of my head, but whatever, got the
yeah,
gig based on a demo.
yes,
And we see it all the time.
all the time. So if you just do it, you know, and very rarely, sometimes they'll give you pushback, but if they push back, maybe you don't want to work there anyway. I mean, like if if you meet two people and you're interviewing for the job, and one person can answer these arcane, like technical code
Right.
trivia questions, but they can't show you anything they've ever built, and then this other person walks in with something they built. I mean, it seems like you'd hire the person that's actually built stuff. You know,
Right.
academic knowledge doesn't mean you can code at all. I mean,
I
it
was
has
thinking I was
very
thinking about
little
this
to do with what you can do.
It's funny. I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking about because so I've been working through some things in the course to try it from a quality perspective, right, to make sure that it's like
Yeah,
that it works and it flows. And as I'm working through, it, I'm like, wow, you're building these things, and I'm thinking about we've talked about this before, where we know somebody who put all of their effort into data structures and algorithms and answering every single
right,
question they could think about that. But I'm like,
right.
you've put all of your effort there, but you've never built anything. Like, if you go to a job and you answer those questions, great, you can answer the questions. Your first day on the job's going to be weird because
It's gonna be hard.
you can't
Just
actually
never
build
built
anything.
anything. Yeah. So, and that's why we built the course the way we did. Just kind of build it out, and then just build lots of things. And if you do all that, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
I think
Shameless
one of the
plug.
questions answered in Discord, yeah, one of the questions answered in Discord was like, "Hey, what's my learning track for C sharp?" And he was kind of frustrated. And I'm like, start with the very first one, then build the second one, then build the third one, and then move on to blog, and then
Yeah,
you're on your way. I mean, there's no better way to do it than just sit there and just do it. You know, I
exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
um,
I think some
just
people
don't.
feel like they need to have this like written map kind of thing too that just
Yeah,
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's like not you don't just start doing the stuff.
yeah. The job is building things. So if you build things, you'll get the job. And you know, so that's where if you want just academic knowledge, you can buy a C sharp book as an accompaniment to this. But like at the end of the day, you got to start building things, and so that's what
Yep.
we do here.
Yep.
So
I
I
also
mean,
thought
if you ever
about
want
this
to
too,
check
and
it,
I noticed something as I went kind of through some of these parts
yeah,
too. Like, we don't have made an attempt to actively made an attempt to not over handhold,
yeah,
right? It's like you
right,
need to sometimes discover things on your own and do
right,
it. Some people just want the injection that just says, I need everything on a piece of paper in front of me before I even
right,
start doing anything. And it's like, no,
right.
no, if that's your style, then a book's probably better for you. This isn't for you. I've definitely noticed some of that feedback.
Yeah. So what I think it is, and it's just a learning a way that we've been taught to learn, especially if you're coming through the U.S. From the U.S. K through 12 system, and even all the way through college, you attend a lecture, you memorize some facts, you answer a question about said facts, and then you try to learn how to code, and you're like, I want to memorize some facts and then answer a question based on those facts. And coding doesn't work that way. And so once you get over the fact that I'm not trying to memorize this, I just need to loosely understand what I'm trying to do. And so fundamentally, I was even with the current bootcamp in person, like, what do you want to happen when the user clicks the button? Tell me what happens. What should happen? And then I said, until you can answer that question, it doesn't matter what I tell you about JavaScript.
Right.
Because like if I tell you all the things that need to happen in JavaScript, you're just memorizing a pattern for a button. But the buttons are numerous, like it's infinite of like what the button could do. You need to answer the question of like, what do I want to happen when I click the button? And once you get there, then you can learn the syntax of coding, and that's the mind shift to all of this. If you're laying out a page, what do I want the page to look like? Do I want my menu on the top, the left, the side, the bottom? If you want a left side sidebar in Bootstrap, okay, now I can Google that. I can Google how to do that in Bootstrap 5.
Right.
I don't necessarily need Coder Foundry to give me every possible iteration of every grid. That's memorization. And so like you just need to know like 8 or 9 of them, and then you can go, okay, I think I can apply what I learned here to this other thing that's not necessarily covered here. So that's the shift. Don't go away from memorization to understanding, like just loosely, what do I want to do? What am I trying to build? What am I, until you can start answering those questions, then it starts clicking for you a lot quicker.
Right. Okay. Let's do some Q&A. So if you have questions, throw them in chat. I will queue them up and we'll get to as many as we can. I think this is the second stream in a row I've had to ban somebody. So
okay, we banned some more people.
It's like I'm on a roll, man. I haven't banned anybody in like 100 and something of these, maybe even more than that. We're probably over 100 of these last year. I haven't banned anybody in 2 in a row.
Like, just don't ban Tech Rally, all right?
So no, I won't. He's greenlit the whole way. He can say whatever he likes. Don't test that though, Alex. I'm not. That's not a challenge. Because Nightbot might.
Nightbot might.
He's still out there. He's not doing a great job, but he's still out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see here. So here's just a general question to start off with. So Abrar wants to know, what is the best method for starting with programming?
So for web, you got to figure out what do you need to know to build a website. And so like you figure out like how our website's kind of built. I think that's the best part of it. And then like I was saying, once you get to knowing what you want to happen, think through the steps without code that need to happen on any, and even when complex problems, even for 20 years in, that's what I do. I just like, what do I want to happen? What's my logical flow of this? I click a button, I get 2 values from the screen. I take the 2 values, I add them together, I display the result. And so what I just explained to you was like a pseudocode, but it doesn't matter what language that's in. So like now you can say, okay, I need to do that in JavaScript. I need to add 2 numbers in JavaScript. How do I do that? How do I display a value on a screen in JavaScript? So now that I know what I want to do. And I think that's the best method for thinking logically through program flow. And you can do this with wireframes. You can do it with pen and paper. You can draw your screens out and like what you want to happen. So I think that's what you need to do. I think that's the best way to do it. You can look at tutorials like we do. You can go to learn.coderfoundry, and we think that's a great place. But there's a lot of Udemy and those kind of places out there. Yeah, shameless plug. But like you can do that, or you can just take any course you want. But I think the quicker you learn, you move from memorization into like understanding what you want to happen. I mean, the quicker you'll pick up programming.
Yep.
Instead of trying to understand like this syntax or whatever. So, I mean, I get it. If you look at JavaScript functions like new set map, I mean, like it seems kind of cryptic and crazy, but like if you say, oh, I want a unique set of values, how do I get a unique set of values from an array? Then you can like start figuring that out, So,
and I think that comes down to like to being good at Google, right? Knowing terminology and then knowing how to search for it is kind of the key. We're talking about this morning when we're talking about Bootstrap.
Yeah.
Like you can do a lot with Bootstrap if you understand some of the basic terminology. You can be like, oh, how do I add padding to the bottom in Bootstrap? But you have to understand padding. You have to know that terminology to be able to search, and then it's easy. You Google it, and there it is. It's like it's easy, and it shows you exactly how to do it.
Right.
I think that's the thing: understanding terminology, understanding what you want to do. That'll take you far, rather than just remembering that it's this certain class you have to add. That's
so like so like if you start off with saying, okay, I want to understand PB stat -2 or PD -5, and it just looks cryptic when you look at it the first time. What you got to understand, like I'm just trying to add padding to the bottom.
Right.
And then you just go Google that and you say, oh, okay, I can put a padding at the bottom with PB -5 or something.
There you go. Yep.
So I think that's the magic to all of this, is just trying to figure out program flow and understanding like what you want to happen.
Yeah.
What do you want your app to do? So
Okay. What does Renamantis says? I wish sleep wasn't wasn't a need for me, so I could dedicate hours to self.
you can go on that, like, what was it, Einstein, 15 minutes every
Is that what he was?
every hour.
He just napped. He's napped
Yeah,
through
exactly.
the morning. Wow. Okay, that's impressive.
I think sleep's important, so definitely need to sleep 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
It help you out.
definitely. Let's see. Lala wants to know, what do you think about having your blog be about your career switch? In my case, teacher to techie, with tech infused, or should I just be strictly a tech blog?
You can make your blog whatever you want, but I think that you can talk about teacher to techie is great.
I like
I
that
definitely
idea.
think you should write some tech inspired blogs because that shows your expertise in the area. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So otherwise, you end up writing a career blog, which is good. It just doesn't move the needle when they're trying to hire you for a C#.net role. So
Yeah,
think about like the marketing aspect of this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what I would do. I would have and write tech articles with a teacher spin, right? So if you can use an analogy somewhere that pulls back to teaching or an experience that pulls back to teaching, do that. Because you have leverage your experience that you have and pull that into this. So that might be your kind of unique angle on this. But definitely have
the
tech
other thing
forward.
too. Yeah, the other thing too is that when we start writing like my teacher to techie type deal, so what we do in there is we're showing like this journey that we have from point A. I'm like way off the screen here. Point A to point B, and so I don't want you necessarily to show that. What I think the tech blog that we want you to do is to gain or pull in expertise. In other words, like saying that I know this. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. These are the things I'm expert in. And what you're doing is you're making a claim to being expertise by writing the blog. Whereas if you write the one about the teacher to tech, then the people will put you in this box of, oh, she's a teacher that's learning how to code. So does that really move the needle for me? But if you wrote an article on MVC, and Model View Control the design pattern, whether you're a teacher or whatever, they're like, okay, now you've claimed expertise. And so like, I think that's what the blog should do. The blog is it's not a blog in a general sense where I put my thoughts on paper. This blog is used as a marketing tool to get you a job. That's how we look at it. Now, you can write those articles, that's just fine. But if that's the only one they read, is that the one that's going to motivate them to call me for an interview? Maybe. But that's just how we look at it, and I'm more leaning towards the marketing aspect of this, and not necessarily the writing aspect.
Exactly, and we know this works. It goes back to your story from we told this just a few weeks ago, where you spoke to somebody and they were like, "Oh, you have a blog. This guy writes about code." Like,
yeah, exactly. So
it adds a massive amount of credibility if you do that when you go for a job interview. That you actually do. Oh, you have a blog. You write about code. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Because most of the coders out there don't do this. So,
right.
But yeah, hope that it helps.
Yep. Oh, I got a 3090 Founders Edition. Finally, you spent 20 hours in line. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's what it takes to get one of these graphics cards. That's insane.
Did you stick it on eBay, Chad? I'm just wondering.
I know, right? I'd be like, is 20 hours in line worth a couple grand? Because that's probably what that's double your money. I mean, the 3090 is, I think, $1,500 MSRP. I'm assuming that's like for 13 to 15.
Man, that is a long time. Think about that. That is a long time to wait in line.
That is a long time. I'm talking like the day before, nah.
So now I'm curious, Chad. How does bathroom breaks work in that line? How does you have to have like dual people, or like your
Yeah, is there an honor system there? Yeah, is there an honor system?
Exactly. I'll be right back.
I'm interested now too. Yeah, how long can you be out of the line for? No, that's an interesting point. Can you you go grab lunch? You go to the restroom?
Exactly.
How does that work?
Or do you just have a backpack there? And so you had to bring a backpack.
Is it a full camping experience? I don't know.
That's cool. 30, they're hard to come by. That's for sure.
They are hard to come by. I want a 3080, and I just literally cannot buy one. I wouldn't mind a 3080 Ti, but I'll take either one, and I just cannot get one.
I had to upgrade one of the edit base here, and I had to get a 3060 in the aftermarket. I think it was right around.
And even then, you paid double the MSRP. Like, it's
because we talked about it, and like, yeah, I found it.
Yeah,
so it's working. I mean, it does help it. So
it does.
From a GTX 970 to a 3060 does save hours.
Oh yeah,
it was worth it.
But
for us.
Chad can help us with encoding some videos.
Yeah,
love it. Okay, what's Mikey say? Mikey says, enjoying the course. I'm enjoying the bootstrap part. Awesome. One problem I have is changing my mindset from desktop UI to web. Is there a mindset trick to help keep the two worlds separate?
Just know, like in the web page world, it is mobile first, and we're always building it so it looks good on the iPhone 6, 7, 9, 10, the smaller devices, and then it needs to scale up to the bigger devices. So that's it. You can't you don't have definitive places to put it, like in drag and drop UI where you just put a button on there. Oh, thanks for the super chat. All right, cool.
Thanks, Alex.
He's got 5 questions in there. All right, cool. We'll answer them all.
you need five super chats, Alex, to get
5 super chats.
No, I'll come to that in a second. I'll come to that in a second. I come to that in a second. We were talking about your video this morning, actually. Bobby hasn't seen it, but I watched the first part of it. Right, we'll talk about it this morning. We'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, you need to think of in terms of how do I lay this out on the largest one, and also lay it out on the smallest one so that it scales correctly. And that's the biggest problem with websites, because when you're building a website page, someone could be looking at it on a Galaxy S10 or like Kevin's machine, 43-inch wide monitor. You know, like it's very crazy wide. And then so you just have to think about like how you do that. So it's mobile first design, and that's all you need to do. The desktop, you had pixels or like units, and you could just place it on a page. And then for them, sometimes that would work really well. But even as we were building desktop UIs, that became a problem too, where you had to start building in similar systems like that so that it would scale correctly, you know, because you don't know what the size of the monitor is. So I think that's the main thing.
There you go.
Most people are trying to get web page design into you at desktop. That's what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
So much
before we go to Alex's thing, just one quick update from Chadlock. You're allowed to take breaks. What? Hold on. You're I don't get the rules. Are there written rules? I don't understand that. How long of a break can you take?
I could see me standing in line, and I'm standing beside some guy named Fred. I say, "Hey, Fred, I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a snack. You want anything from the convenience store? Yeah, go get me a soda." And I walk back in, and he goes, "I don't know who you are, man. Like, you're not getting in my line."
See, here's what I'm doing.
That's what happening.
The day before I'm getting in line, I'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm here. I'm getting in line. I'll be back in a minute." Like 23 hours later, I'm back. Be like, "Hey, thanks for holding my space." Like, how long can you disappear for? Like,
exactly.
That's funny. Now, that's just cheap of you, Alex. Come on. But let's get to
let's see what he had to ask. He had 5 questions in there. Okay, let's see if we can do it.
I'm cutting off your 5th one, Alex. I don't know why. If you want to type that one out, I don't know why that cut off. It's just a thing. We'll get to that. So, opinions about my top 5 questions to ask coding bootcamp's video. Now, I've watched part of the video. I haven't watched it all, I will admit. And Bobby hasn't seen any of it yet, because we talked about it just briefly this morning, because I was like, hey, I'm watching Alex's video. So, number 1, Udemy versus the bootcamp difference. So I think buying $12 on a Udemy class, 15 grand on a bootcamp.
So there's Udemy classes is what you'd have to do to take a quality bootcamp. You'd have to like go to like a bunch of different courses to get this done, especially in the web world. There's basically what we say a lot. There's 5 things you need to know: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some kind of server backend language, some kind of SQL database. Then you got to learn security. There's a lot to full stack development. So I think a bootcamp in that realm is better than a Udemy course because it's just a singular course. But there's some good courses out there that you can take. The other thing is, I hope the bootcamp's building projects so that you have a way to apply what you learn when you build these things. And I think that could be the biggest difference between a bootcamp and, say, a Udemy course. Q2, that's important. Who are the teachers? I mean, we
obviously trade on this one a lot. Yeah,
we have a lot of good teachers. So like, and they're just really knowledgeable on what they're doing. So that's the only way we really hire. So I think it's important to do that. So,
What happens if
here's the one that I don't like. What happens if I fail? So for some reason, boot camps are held to this like 95% success rate. College is down here in the 30s, and we don't even consider success with the Udemy course. We figure if I buy a Udemy course, no one ever considers that they fail or not, or finish it, don't start
well,
it.
I've seen some of those stats. The finish percentages are really low. Really low.
Right. So here's where I boil this down to everyone that comes virtually, and they ask me about this. Am I guaranteed to get a job? And the answer is no, because I can't force anyone to hire anyone. So, but here's what I will say about this. If you can build the bug tracker and the blog and all the projects we put together in the bootcamp, you know how to code. And I think if you know how to code, you'll get a job. So if you fail at this, it means a couple of things. It doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means that maybe it takes you a little bit longer, and you got to stay committed to the process of doing it. Second, if you quit after you get your first turn down in an interview, then you're probably not cut out for this industry anyway, because you need to, especially early on, you're gonna have to interview quite a bit to get your first role.
Yeah.
But then what I tell people is like, after you've broke in, that's really interesting, you know? So I think that's kind of cool. I would definitely look at quality of projects and look at the type of stuff that you're building in the bootcamp, and you can ask them about that too.
Yeah, because we've talked about kind of tic-tac-toe not being enough, right? There's some things that just aren't necessarily enough.
I see some boot camps, I see some boot camps, and I don't want to name names because I don't really know. Like I'm looking at student portfolio, so I don't know if they finished the course or not. Like I just know that they published a portfolio, and I look at it.
That's generally our insight into other boot camps, isn't it? Yeah, that's generally our insight. Is we'll see another student portfolio, we'll see it somewhere, whether it be on LinkedIn or on Twitter or something, or somebody will tag us in one or something. We'll go take a look at it.
Yeah.
That's our only insight into other boot camps.
Right. But if the most complex thing you build is a non-database version of a to-do list, which I've seen that from some student portfolios, that's not good enough to get a job. So like, in my opinion, it needs to have a database, implement security, all of those things that we've talked about before. So I think those are definitely, if you're looking at a boot camp, ask them these questions like, hey, what am I going to build? What am I going to walk out of here with? And I can't read 5. It's cut off. What was his 5th one?
So 5 was this one. Help me find a job.
Right. So what we do here at Coder Foundry is like we partnered up with a national search firm called TEKsystems. And so like we pass your stuff along to TEKsystems. The finding the job part is really hard because you have multiple people coming in, they live in different cities and whatever. And so the best thing that you can do is to make sure you take control of your own job search. I think that's what I tell every student now coming in. Yeah, we're going to get you some opportunities. We're going to get you some interviews. We're going to try to do those kind of things. But like, don't wait on TEKsystems and our relationship with TEKsystems to get you an opportunity. Apply to Indeed. Apply directly to companies. Tell them 3 reasons why you're a fit. Those kind of things. And I think that is the more important way to do it. And so what we've shifted our focus on now is less about finding you a job and more about helping you win a tech interview. And that's where we want to spend way more time to, because we think that TEKsystems, Robert Half, and those people can get you an opportunity, but we need you to win that tech interview when you get there. So that's why I want everyone to take responsibility for their own job search. You know, I think that's the best way to find a job. So
there you go. And everybody go watch Alex's video after this.
Go watch Alex's video. So hopefully he's that's kind of what I think. I like the questions though. I think those are 5 great questions you should ask a boot camp.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Let's see. Eric wants to know the coding challenges planned for the channel. We haven't got any in the works at the moment, do we? But
yeah, as soon as we, Eric, we obviously a lot of our, if you've looked at our course, if you're in our course, that's what we've been doing. So like, whereas before I had a lot more time building coding challenges out, where now I need to plan those out so we can build those out on the channel. I would love to get back to doing that. So I think now that once things are settled down, we do have some things, more stuff planned for the channel like that. So
yeah, we're definitely going to put more time back into the pre-recorded stuff on the YouTube channel. And one of those things is probably doing another coding challenge too. It's definitely on the
yeah,
table. We just need to make sure and get the course up to par. And we spend a
yeah.
lot of time pushing it out, so that's kind of our focus at the minute.
I'm still recording almost every day, so still making stuff.
Still
So,
adding stuff. We're still
yeah,
we're still adding
exactly.
stuff.
So the list is a mile long. So like of things that we want to add to the course.
Yep. Speaking of the bootcamp, Ed wants to know any advice for the interview stage of the Coder Foundry process. I give you a tip,
So
like bring candy or something. No.
yeah, exactly. So I think the more you demo, the better your opportunities are to win. All right. So when you have your portfolio and we build that out, and then you have a bug tracker specifically built out, demo the bug tracker, learn how to take a tech question and relate it to code inside that repository. So like if they ask you, what is a public or private access modifier on a class, show them a class that you created that had public methods and private methods and talk about why those are different. So I think that is very important to learn how to do, to turn an interview question into a demo. And if you can do that, you'll win most of the interviews that you go to. And initially, you do need help by demoing your code, but initially you'll know it so well that you can talk about it without even a demo. But the more you demo, the better.
I took his question actually a little bit differently. I think he might be asking about the interview process for getting into Coder Foundry. Maybe I'm not sure.
Oh, how do you get in?
It says for the interview stage of the Coder Foundry process. Maybe I'm not sure.
Okay, well, if you're talking about how to get in, what I'm looking for is, well, I don't want to do that, but like I do interview every student coming in. So like I am looking for specific things. In order for you to get into the program, we also look for some objective things, like we test the quiz and we look at some challenges that we send out. You got to compute all those things, and then the interview is important to get in. And so, without divulging kind of what I'm looking for, but you can imagine what I'm looking for. I mean, it's not hard to figure out.
Add again. Hold on. There we go.
We live again.
Should be. Let me just. I've got it. Yeah. Sorry. Like I said, we've been down. We're back up again. We are back up again.
All right.
Yeah, we're just talking about this.
So Walker, he's liking the course. So what I want you to do is build all the projects in the course, so that then after that you can start building your own. There's a lot of things that we teach in all of these courses as we add on to these that you'll learn a lot along the way. So definitely build those right now, and then you can start building your own after that. Or you can take the address book, and after you've gone through blog and bug tracker, you can say, oh, I'm going to take an address book and add a login, or do some different things that you want to do to it, or take a bug tracker and turn it into some other kind of system, like a cable repair system or something like that. I think all of those things are valid. So just keep building them, because there's a lot in those courses that show you how to do stuff.
Shit, I think that's Chaitani wants to know, do I need to remember every property of JavaScript? Like every single thing? I'm into front-end development. You probably missed the beginning of this
No,
discussion.
You don't need to remember everything.
No. It's a waste of brain energy and space.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not have to do that.
I mean, you'll navigate to, as you do it a lot, to things that you just know because you use them every day. And then there'll be a part of the JavaScript frameworks APIs that you don't know that you might have to Google, and that's okay. So I think that's the thing. Don't try to get into memorization. Figuring out what you want to do, and then figure it out from there, what you need to know.
Right.
All right, cool.
Let me see. Next one here. Patricio wants to know, Bobby, do you ever ask potential hires for your companies if they have any questions for you? If so, do you ever get amazing questions back?
Yeah, I get questions like that. I'll actually ask that question. What questions do you have for me?
What do you want to hear there? there anything?
To work, I want to know like if you're curious about the projects we build in.
Okay.
Are
Still
we
there?
back again? We're having lots of problems today, aren't we?
I
We
didn't see
back?
it go down then.
Okay.
That might have
It
just
froze
been
for me.
that
I
might
don't
have
know if
just been
it's
your
me.
end.
Okay.
Maybe we're both having
So,
problems. So if we keep going.
yeah. Yeah. So, do you ever ask potential for companies? Do you have questions for you? Yes. What I'm looking for is, are they curious about the company? Are they curious about the projects that we're building? Are they curious about the technology stack that we use? Those kind of things.
Okay, so you just want to see like just a little bit of like interest from them about the company.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Chad wants to know: should portfolio projects be open to everyone on GitHub? If so, should a license be created?
That's up to you. What you want to do. You can keep them private or you can keep them public. Typically, if you're using it to show, you'll want to keep it public so someone can go look at your code.
Right.
If you're trying to sell your bug tracker, then I would keep it private.
Yeah. Slightly different case there.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky wants to know: will there be suggestions on how to improve the projects, features that were not implemented, etc.? I don't know if you're asking about individual feedback there, maybe.
Yeah, I think one of the things that he could be asking is like, where do we go from here? Then I have a blog. Is there anything I could add to this? Anything I could add to the bug tracker to make it better?
Okay, I see what you're
That's a
saying.
good. I think Ricky, we could do that. We haven't thought about that yet, but like I'll put that on the board. I think that's a good suggestion where we can say, here's a feature you could add. Now go do this, and we're never going to provide that solution.
Right.
So that kind of thing.
Yeah. Because we definitely do have those. There's definitely things we talk about all the time on the project. Like, oh, it'd be cool if it did that, or cool if it did that. Like, yeah, but that kind of gets too complex or whatever it is. Or
wants
it's
a
like,
solution for all of those things
yeah.
too. So we have to be careful of
Yeah.
like, but like I do think that improvements could be a section where we'd say we're not going to provide solutions for it, but here's 10 things that you could add to your bug tracker. You know, after you've done this, you
Right.
should know how to do it now.
Kind of like stretch goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting through all of these questions today. This is cool.
Okay.
Richie
cool.
wants to know opinion on remote developing.
I just think it's gonna be the way it is, man. I mean, like you're gonna see more and more of that. I do know that I've talked to companies this week, and it does look like a lot of the companies are asking people to be in person starting in September, in the fall.
It's funny because
It looks like that's the way.
my wife works in banking, and a lot of them are going back. You know which group's not going back? You know, the exception to the rule? Developers.
The devs. Yeah.
Developers. They're literally the
and-
only exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Kinda crazy.
So the way I look at this is it's not that I hate it. I do understand why some companies want dev staff in the house because you do get more. It's easier to collaborate with a bunch of people in the room than it is for them to get on a Teams call together. You know, so I do think that's the thing. I do believe that if you're in the company and like you're in person, it's easier to stay connected to the said company, understand where things are going, and opportunities arise just by being near those people that work there. I think that's another thing that I think companies value. So if you look at Tech Twitter, they want 100% remote. I don't think that's really. I mean, it's probably good for the worker, but not necessarily good for the company. And so the company has to say, well, we need you in here. Like, I don't want to be here. I get it, but like, we need you in here. We need to.
But like you said,
to
it might not necessarily
you know?
be also good for the employee because maybe, like you say, opportunity doesn't happen because they didn't have a water cooler talk with somebody or something, you know?
Exactly. And I think building out our social and communicative skills in the workplace is also a very underrated skill. Just being just a coder that works remote on its own and just delivers stuff and pushes things into Git does have value, but the other value is the person that communicate what we're doing to that company's customers is of higher value. And so if you want to be the technician, I get that. But if you want to like have career advancement, that technician has to turn into the person that can lead teams or talk to customers or things like that. And you can see that, just look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was probably a really good engineer, but he was a way better communicative of what he wanted,
Oh yeah.
you know. Um, Bill Gates was probably on the other end, like probably a pretty good engineer, not
Right.
necessarily the most communicative, even though they got to the same place. So there's
Yeah.
two ways to do it. But I think they ended up hiring people that were way more um, communicative than Bill Gates was, and that's kind of what moved
Yep.
the company forward.
Definitely.
You know,
I would also
you
like.
see that with Nadella now in Microsoft. Like Nadella is like very good at communicating what customers want to see, and you can see Microsoft just hit the 2 trillion mark, and that's because I think he's a great engineer. I'm sure he was, or maybe still is.
Yep.
But he's definitely found
He
his
has other
calling, and
skills. Yeah.
he has other skills.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I think it's very risky to be just a remote developer. I also don't know if it's good for you socially to be stuck in that hole and you never talk to people, and I don't think that's good either. So
Especially being a dev, because that's what happens a lot, right? You kind of all
yeah,
like headphones on, kind of head down, and it promotes that
yeah,
maybe a little too much.
right,
You need some
right,
kind of interaction. This is
yeah,
something we've actually always cautioned against. Always, even pre-pandemic, we've always said
yeah.
that a remote gig for a new dev is also not an ideal situation either, because you're
I don't
kind
think
of on
it
an
is.
island and you're trying to learn all
Yeah,
these things, and you don't have a mentor to learn from. That makes
right.
it a lot more difficult too, because you've still got a
Yeah,
lot to learn in those first few years.
I think so.
So yeah,
And
it
build
depends on where you are in
relationships
your career
is
too.
key to life in general.
Yep.
Hope that helps,
But
Richie.
good question. Good question. Yuga Danny wants to know, as a newbie, how to start contributing to open source projects.
You can try. I mean, you do a poll and see if your thing gets in there. I don't know if you're a newbie. I don't know if that's the best thing use of your time at this point. I think building your own stuff is way more important right now for learning.
Yeah, it depends on what your goal is.
Yeah, it depends on what your goal is. I mean,
Yep. Okay, Everything Game says, I've learned C# and Python, both, but just the basics. Which one should I continue? Well, you're going to have an
what do you
opinion on
want to
this.
build? That's what I ask every single person. Like, what do you want to build? So if you're building websites, I would go down the C# MVC route. If you're into data science, I'd go down the Python route. I think it's that simple for those two languages. Doesn't mean you can't build websites with Python. You can, but it's just used way more for data science.
Yep. It's right tool for the right
So
job too, right? It's like you could
yeah,
you could cycle across the United States, but why would you when you can get in a car or fly?
exactly. Yeah,
You can. Doesn't
horses
mean
work,
that
but we don't drive them to work anymore. We just don't.
right.
I mean,
Right.
So the other thing too about C# too is that you also can build games. Like you're looking at everything games. You definitely, if you're going to do that, that's definitely C# and that's definitely Unity. If you're looking at desktop, I still think desktop is built primarily with C#. You either using WPF. Increasingly next year be Maui. So I think that's where you want to learn if you want to build desktop apps. So like C# is really this general purpose language that has a lot of broad targets in it.
There you go.
It helps.
Let's see how to start my .NET Core journey.
Yeah, you have to
is a
start learning, and so that means take a course in .NET. So we think we have a good one, but there's other ones out there. So take
another
a course
shameless
in
plug.
.NET. It's a shameless plug.
I'm gonna keep shameless plugging this all day.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go there and check it out, and that's a good way to do it. And these aren't question plants, by the way, are they, Kevin? So like,
No,
seems like
definitely not. I'm telling all my friends to show up and be like, ask a question that I can answer, like the course is the answer to. Let's just do that.
I got
No.
my mom with her 5 YouTube aliases asking
No,
questions.
no, we know that's not going to happen because your mom doesn't show up when your brother's not here. So we know
That's
that's the
right.
case already. He's
My
not
brother
here,
was
so
here. She would be online, so watching. So like, that's for sure.
oh, that's funny. So before this thing dies on us, let's finish early today. We're gonna do one more because I have this feeling like top of the hour it's gonna die. Just a suspicion. So we're not gonna go past the top of the hour. So we'll do this one here real quick. This is more of a soft skills thing. But how to deal with toxic colleagues. You ever had to deal with that?
Yes. Toxic colleagues, toxic partners, toxic people.
In general.
In general, I think if you're running a company, you should remove toxic people from your company, period. Now, if you're an employee and you have colleagues like that, you can't like get rid of
Yeah, you
them.
don't have a
So like you
choice.
have to
Yeah.
like you have no choice but to work with them. And so in general, I think it's always be nice is one way to be nice with them, and then you have to figure out if they're truly toxic and they're trying to, you know, truly trying to tear you down. You don't want to. I don't want you to be think that everyone in the world is toxic, but like if you truly meet can, then you can set like very good boundaries. But you do have to work with them at their company. So like if you can't work with a certain set of people, and your reasoning is they're toxic, then in a weird way, then you become toxic too because you decided who you can and can't work with. So for you, do your best to live at peace with everyone. I think that's a great thing that you should try to do, and try to be nice and try to deal with them as best you can. And then if you can set realistic boundaries in the workplace, then you can, but like I wouldn't go to my boss and say I can't work with, Frank over here because he's toxic. I mean, that
Yeah.
makes you look toxic.
Yeah, it's gonna make exactly. You're
Yeah.
gonna come off as the one that's
Yeah.
bad. The good
Yeah.
thing about being a dev, don't forget, is opportunities are always out there. Once you've got
Yeah, you
some
can go-
experience
you can
you
leave.
can just move on.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
that bad,
Yeah.
you can just move on.
Mhm.
That is an option that you
Right.
that you wouldn't see in a lot of other industries or a lot of other careers. You can't just be like, just go get a new job. Like, hold on, it's not that easy. But once you have some
Right.
experience under your belt, you'll find that it is as a developer. We see it all the
Right.
time. People are like jumping between jobs is the norm as a developer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, just try to live at peace with everyone and just try to be nice and deal with them respectfully, and then set boundaries where you can if you need to.
There you go. One last shameless plug. If you haven't
One
already
last shameless plug.
bought the course or in the course, you can learn.codefoundry.com.
Check it out.
We are up and running there, and we're constantly adding to it. We're putting together our roadmap for the future, so we'll be adding more stuff.
Yeah.
More stuff every week. But we have
Yeah.
bigger plans going on too, which we're talking about adding more and more and more stuff. So yeah, learn.codefoundry.com. We talked about the book earlier too, by the way. If you want to get the book,
Yeah.
do another shameless plug. I'll throw up to the book. You can grab links down
Yeah.
below.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be back on Thursday, hopefully with less technical problems. Sorry for the droppages today. I think it's my internet. But
Yeah,
we'll
it
be
could
back
be.
Thursday with stronger internet.
Stronger internet. Like,
We'll see.
all right, cool.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see you on Thursday. Good luck and keep coding, guys. And we'll see you. Thanks for hitting us up here on the channel. Like it, love it, smash the like button.
Or just gently
And,
touch it so you don't break your stuff.
Yeah, gently touch it. Don't break your screen. All right, I'll
we'll
see you in
guys.
Discord. See you.
Bye.